All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here for another video update for the day. I'm just going to update on the price action that happened today on Bitcoin, and I'm going to cover some altcoins. I'm going to cover ETH, Render, Injective, Tau, and Phantom. Okay, so let's get started here with what kind of happened today. Today was a really slow day, just a lot of chop and low volume, like I suspected today, with it being the end of the holiday week, the day after Christmas. Most people probably took off Christmas through the end of the week at least, if not the whole week. So that's why we're seeing just a real low volume inside day, kind of chop day. And we're starting to form this bigger range here that we looked at for the last few days here. Okay, so earlier today in the video, I talked about we were coming right down to this golden pocket. I'm going to zoom in onto 30 minutes. And we pulled the range of this sideways price action, the relevant price action from present day or from present all the way to where the range kind of starts when we broke the channel down, the bigger ascending channel down, and we started to form a range right below the resistance of this channel on the back test. So earlier today, we did come down to the value area low. Actually, the value area low was a little bit higher earlier today, and you could see it was a little bit higher, and it was also the golden pocket. So we bounced. We're seeing the bounce in kind of some just range, a very smaller micro range form in this area here throughout the day because it is such low volume. It's just probably going to range here. If this higher low does hold, we do have a possibility of coming up higher. I still would be looking for a lower high here, kind of like a mini ABC correction after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulse. Then we could look for like the ABC down, something A, B, wherever it's going to end. We could pump all the way to the 0.5. And then C, we could come down to take the lows at 92K. We still do have a lot of the liquidity resting here. You can see this heat map chart, and this is just the last week of price action. But you can see the majority of the liquidity is resting down below those 92K lows there and above the high we made yesterday on the swing failure pattern. So a lot of people probably shorted up in this area here, and they're putting their stops above the swing failure pattern high that we had, just like I'm doing. So yeah, those are our two major levels of liquidity to be watching. We could be just continuing to trade this range here. And if you really want to get degen, you could zoom in here like onto the 5-minute chart, and you could trade this little range that's forming here. You could come in here, you could do a range pull of this range, something like this, and you could trade this range. It looks like we're breaking the value area high of this range now. I wouldn't be surprised if we do come up and take these local highs that were created earlier today, because we front ran the VWAP earlier today. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come up to this little area here to SFP this. We could also look at the fib pull. I think I have it on the chart here somewhere. Not that one. Let's see. Nope. Maybe I got rid of it. I mean, this is the fib pull. So just from the high swing failure pattern high to the low we made earlier today, if we go to the 0.5 here, it's also in confluence with our bigger POC of the big range. So let me zoom out here and go on to the daily. I believe this looks really bad, but I'll zoom in once we get the range on there. I believe this is the range, not that one. Here we go. Yep. All right. So that range, just the entire range of the channel's price action, the ascending channel's price action, even the breakdown of the price action, this more sideways distribution, possible distribution pattern we're seeing. So let me zoom back in here. I'll zoom in onto the 12-minute chart. Let me get this out of the way now. And you guys can see, let's see. Oh, I guess it's not that one. Let's zoom out onto the 2-hour. And let's pull this to the intermediate range here. Okay, it's on Bybit. The range is a little bit different on Bybit than on Coinbase. So You can see this little sideways price action that we had. It is right here. We also have prior lows from yesterday that are here, and the 0.5 fib pull of the high, the swing failure pattern high down to the low that we made today. You can see the 0.5 is resting right above those. So that's a level of resistance to be watching for in a like a mini ABC correction here. If we do something like, you know, A, B, C, come down. All right, so that's that. Actually, I forgot to cover this chart earlier today, so let me go into this real quick. Let me clean some of this up. We also, of course, we have our key golden pocket retraced from the 108 highs down to the 92K lows. We have our golden pocket that's resting at the entire range, the entire fib channel, the ascending channel, excuse me, that is on the other chart. If we take the fixed range volume profile of this entire kind of upwards price action here, you can see that the value area high really nicely aligns with that golden pocket. And if we turn on the session volume profile, you can also see that we have a daily naked point of control there once it loads up. So yeah, you could see a daily naked point of control as well here lining up with that. So we do have quite a few confluences up around 1022 to be looking at if we do push up there. I don't think we're going to push up there yet. I still think that our swing failure pattern. So let me zoom into this. Let me show you guys this. Let me get this, clean this chart up a little bit, and then I can show you some of this price action here. Okay, so we have this range that we've been trading, and yesterday I talked about this channel that I created based off the two lows. I connected, I went from the first low, connected to the second low, and pulled it to this high. And I talked about it's pretty much a horizontal range, but I didn't want to make it completely horizontal just because this low here front ran it just a little bit. We broke the 886, but it didn't go down to take the lows. So I made the a very, very slight ascending channel here. And you can see after we pumped up yesterday, we did the swing failure pattern, the real swing failure pattern. We kind of got a fake out swing failure pattern that I talked about in earlier today's video on this candle here. But then we came up and swing failed into the top of the channel, rejected from the top of the channel, closed the hourly candle and the 2-hourly candle red below the swing failure pattern level, below the liquidity level of our prior highs. And that's why we got the move down. Now you can see here, if we look at this pink channel that I just pulled, we are losing the midline, and we came back up earlier today to back test it. We wicked above it, but we couldn't close above it. And right now we're kind of testing it again. And we do have the 2-hour momentum wave bottomed out with a green dot. So we might come up a little bit higher. We might come up to take these lows that were, or the highs that were created earlier today. We might even come a little bit higher than that to finish a B wave before we continue down on a C wave. We're just going to watch as this develops. Once again, it's really low price action, really low volume price action, but you see all of these wicks to the bottom here. In my opinion, that's pretty bullish actually. Every time we get down there, there's people buying this level of support here. And that level of support was the golden pocket pull. Let me get this here. I'll show you guys the golden pocket pull from the low to the high. If we go to the golden pocket, you can see it was the golden pocket and it was the value area low of the range that we were looking at. So this range here, actually on Coinbase, it's a little bit lower than on Bybit, but you get the idea. The value area low is right around this area, and the golden pocket, we wicked into the golden pocket here. So far we're holding it. It is holding a support, creating a higher low on like an hourly and 2-hourly time frame, but I still think it's just going to make a lower high before coming lower. That's my opinion. Now, the market doesn't care about your opinion. You trade the charts, you trade the probabilities. Okay, so that's what's kind of going on for Bitcoin. I'm going to go back to the Coinbase chart real quick, and I do want to show you guys a couple things that I've been looking at here on this chart. So let me clean up this chart here again for you guys. And we're going to look at some bigger price action here. We're going to zoom out onto the 4-hour chart, and I'm going to show you guys some pitchforks that I've got because we are respecting. I'm going to actually hide this ascending channel for now as well. We have been trading in this bigger pitchfork here. So I'm going to go onto the daily chart. This pitchfork here is, I believe it's a modified skiff pitchfork. It's a skiff pitchfork. And we pulled this pitchfork from the last big daily lows, like the last big swing daily low, to the top of the 74K all-time high that we made in March, down to the correction lows at like 49K. And you can see how well this pitchfork has been respected here. And when we came up to the top of it, we rejected the top of it, but now we're kind of consolidating within this upper band of the pitchfork. And you can see here, this upper band is holding right now. It is holding, but I do think eventually we can break it down. And depending on how long that takes, we can look at the midline, which is an alignment, depending on how long, with these lows of the bottom of the channel here. So we could look at this SFP here into this midline if it takes a while, but really for it to line up, that would have to be all the way till February. I don't think it's going to take that long. So we'll watch it as it happens, but you can see here, let me zoom back into the 4-hour chart. You can see here how well this upper pitchfork band is holding. And we're just kind of chopping within this band a little bit. Rejected from the top, came down, held the bottom of the upper band. So this is what I call the upper band, is this little area in between here. We held the bottom, came back up, held the bottom again, and now we're losing it. So one of the things we could see today on this smaller price action I was talking about, on this price action here, we could see us come back up to retest, bearishly backtest the top of the upper band, and then flush back down to take these lows that these kind of triple lows that we created. Triple lows on Coinbase, double lows on Bybit. All right, so that's one of the pitchforks that I was looking at. The other pitchfork is a different one. Let me hide this one I just showed you guys. The other one here is a different pitchfork that I pulled, but you can see also how well this one's been respected, especially in this sideways price action. Anytime we hit one of the major bands, you can see how well it held its support all through here. We tried to break above it, kind of got like a failed auction. Tried to bounce for our first time, couldn't hold above, and then we broke down. Couldn't hold above, couldn't break above this time. Fell down to the midline, was able to hold the midline. Chopped around in here for a little bit, couldn't reclaim the upper band, fell to the midline again. Tested a few times, but held above, and then we tested the band again, and then we finally had our big drop. Came back for the, let me zoom in here so you guys can see this. So we rejected from the upper band, lost the midline, came back up for a bearish backtest of the midline, dropped to the bottom of the pitchfork, held the bottom of the pitchfork, rejected from the lower band, and now we're kind of chopping. We're trying to hold this lower band of support, or this lower pitchfork support here. And I don't know if it's going to hold or not. It's, when we see this many wicks below it, and then when we see this kind of, you can almost consider this a sort of like bear flag type pattern, or like a correction, just like an ABC correction pattern, low volume correction after a 5-wave push up, 3, 4, 5. So that's kind of what this pitchfork, if this breaks, of course, I still think these 92Ks are really probable for us to come take. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to see how this chart plays out over the next few days or so. Tomorrow's Friday, so it's already kind of a low volume day for most people. And then that being on top of the holiday weekend and everything like that, we're just gonna watch this and see. Let me pull this range one more time. Now we do have this value area low, this intermediate range a little bit below us. I don't think the 786. I looked at this earlier today. The 786 is a bit lower on the chart. So yeah, I mean, I'd be watching for these lows. If we lose the golden pocket and the value area low of this range here, we're coming for these 92K lows, triple lows on Coinbase. Not this one. Here we go. Flash crash bottom, December 5th wick on Coinbase. Second low, pretty much an equal low. Third low here, it's just front ran it, but we broke the 886 like I showed you guys earlier in the day. So it is more probable we come down to take these lows. I have the alert set in here to watch for a confirmed swing failure pattern to long that and to bring it up higher. Let's see how that goes. Right now, we'll trade the range. We can trade this range here, and then we can, if you really want to get degen, you can just trade this range here in this area. Now, be careful, you guys, on very low volume. It takes less of a position size to move the market when you're using, when there's super low volume, when no one's trading Bitcoin on a holiday weekend. So we do tend to see the price move a little bit more with less money than usual. And that can kind of give us false signals sometimes. Or I don't want to call them false signals because the price is actually moving with that position, but it can give us false hope. Let's say that false hope of a move up because it's low volume. And you can even look at the volume here. How, I mean, it's just pretty low in general. On the 1 hour chart, well, of course, we did get the big red spike, and that's also a sign that you're seeing more volume to the downside than the upside. But look at even this last little push up that we're seeing in the last 3 hours. Look how low the volume is on that. So just be aware of that. Be aware of low volume trades on holiday weeks or any weekends in general. Keep an eye out for that. Okay, so now I'm going to go into Ethereum. ETH, USD. All right, so last time I looked at Ethereum, let me zoom out onto the daily chart here. I was talking about this 2965. Actually, this isn't the ETH that I was watching. This is not this chart. Here we go. All right, this is the Bybit chart here. So I was talking about this level of support here where we have all these semi-equal daily lows. We have the golden pocket pull from this last big swing low on the daily up to the highs. If you do the golden pocket pull, you can see our liquidity is resting right down there. We have our anchored VWAP from this low here resting right in that golden pocket. And then depending on how long the time takes, we do have the bottom of our pitchfork right around this area. So I do think 3,000 to 2965 is still a really good level of support to be watching for a swing position on Ethereum if we do get down there. We are still just chopping. Let me zoom in here now onto the 2 hour chart, and we'll look at this. So we're still just chopping within this band, really, this lower band of support of the pitchfork. So let me get rid of some of this stuff here. Oh gosh, we just had a swing failure pattern of this local high from earlier today. Let's zoom in on that. See, because you could have been tried, just like Bitcoin's micro range that we were just looking at, Ethereum's kind of forming that same micro range. So you could do a fixed range volume pull from like this low onwards. We broke above the value area high. We did swing fail that, but we were able to come down and hold the POC, which is kind of a bullish sign, and also hold the VWAP. So we might continue up higher, but we also had the VWAP close. We're kind of at the yesterday's VWAP close. So we are at a local resistance on a very micro time frame, micro trend here. But as far as the bigger stuff goes, let's look at the 1 hour chart. You can see that we came back down. So same kind of thing that we saw here. We were chopping above this upper band of the upper part of the lower band of the pitchfork. And then we finally lost it and dropped to the bottom of the band. And we were starting to kind of form a range in here. Once again, you see all these bullish wicks, you guys, on the 1 hour chart. This is buy pressure here. Every time we come down here, you are seeing people wanting to buy this support up. That is telling you that we should expect a move up when you see multiple hours like that of buying wicks. We probably saw some absorption on the charts as well, CVD absorption there. And so that's why we're getting this push up. We did swing failure this little high, so we could start to just rotate down and continue this range here. But if this band doesn't hold, then we could be looking for lower for sure. Let's zoom out onto the 4 hour chart. We still have the lows from this little area here. And we did make the double top the other day. I think this was yesterday. Yeah, Christmas Eve. We had, and it's not a exact double top because you can see there's a little bit of space there, but it's a pretty semi-equal highs there, and we might even come up there to take those highs. Just like with Bitcoin, we can kind of trade this sideways range that we've seen since, like, you could pull it probably from here. So once again, we see some confluence here with the top of the band. So if we do come back to bearishly backtest now that we're bouncing from the lower part of the band, if we come up to the top part of the band, the value area highs there, we could see the rotation back down. I bet if we do a fib pull, there's going to be some fib confluence there as well. It's probably going to be the golden pocket. Yeah, golden pockets right there as well. So 3461 is looking like a local level of resistance to look for a short on Ethereum if we continue this range here. Let me adjust this range pull to just bring it to here. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't change much at all. So yeah, That 3461 area is looking like it could be a local resistance. If we do pump up to there, you could be looking for a short here. Now, it's kind of a big stop here. Like if you shorted this area here, which is the value area high, the golden pocket, and the back test of the band, you'd probably want to put your stop above these two double highs here. And then in that case, you would at least want to shoot for these lows down here to take these lows, if not lower. You know, you could take it to that 3,000 there. And then that would give you a good, 4.5 risk reward ratio there. Of course, a TP1 would be down at these lows here. And then maybe, I wouldn't say the bottom of the band because in the value area low, because that's not, I mean, it's a 1.73 risk reward ratio, but that's kind of cutting it close there. So, but just trade the range, you guys. We're in a low volume ranging week. Trade the range that's in front of you. Don't chase the market and feel like you have to get into positions. Be patient. Wait for the good trade setups. I know so many people, including myself, by the way, they got wrecked because I felt like I always needed to be in a trade, and I forced trades that weren't there. I forced setups that weren't there because I just felt like I needed to trade. So sit on your hands. Go do something. Go. I know some of the guys in the Discord play video games. Some people like to work out, exercise, do things like that. I do a combination of all those things. Just go find something to do. Wait for the market to come to you. Don't force a trade because you feel like you need to be in a trade. That might work out short term, but long term, if you do that, you are going to start to get wrecked or make poor decisions in the market. So a lot of trading is about psychology and about learning to be patient and learning when to take trades and when not to take trades. So that is kind of Ethereum right now. I still do think that 3,000 to 2965 is a big level of support that I'll definitely be looking for a long on. Yeah, I got my alert set on that. And then to the upside, we do have this pitchfork band midline here that is still holding pretty well as rejection points 2-3 times or so. Twice there and then once way farther back. We could do a fib pull from the high to the low here. And sure enough, we do have the golden pocket here, and then we have the liquidity from this internal push up resting right in that golden pocket around 3720-ish. So that's a level you could be looking. The SFP into golden pockets. Remember, I always talk about SFPs into golden pockets are really good to look for. And then because Ethereum didn't get the swing failure pattern of the initial bounce like Bitcoin did, on Bitcoin, if we go to Bitcoin here, you can see that Bitcoin did get that swing failure pattern on this initial first bounce high. Bitcoin got the swing failure pattern. Ethereum did not. Ethereum front ran that SFP, and we didn't get it. So there is a possibility that we could come up to SFP that and then drop just like Bitcoin did. So be aware of that as well. Other than that, I would just be, I mean, trade what's in front of you, you guys. Don't force anything. Trade what's in front of you. Look at this local price action. We are seeing some kind of bullish signs on some of the indicators. Looks like the 4-hour momentum's bottoming out. Money flow starting to round off. On the daily, it is starting to bottom out too. We are starting to see what would be really nice is if we could flush down to here and to like 90K or 87K on Bitcoin and create a bullish div on the daily time frame. If we made those lower lows here, higher lows there, money flow hopefully would be curving up by then. That would be really nice to see. So that's Ethereum. You could also do on the daily time frame, you could pull a bigger range on there, kind of like this price action to like here. We're holding the POC here, but you can see also the value area low, that range is right around this area of support that I'm looking at as well. And then, of course, more confluence on this level here. You have the last internal liquidity grab highs. You have the value area high of the bigger daily range in confluence with that golden pocket around 3720. That's a level to be watching for. We could go, let's zoom in onto the 4-hour and let's look at naked point POCs. Yeah, and then look at you guys. We also have the naked POC right around this area too. So that's looking good. That 3700 to 3720-ish level is looking real good for a resistance on a local. Of course, we do have our first local resistance around this 3461. We also need to be watching 35.53 double top, an SFP of that. And then we need, could be your third area of resistance you're looking at up in this area here. And then as far as supports go, we have the support. You guys can see how well these daily naked point of controls work. So when we came down here, we hit it and we bounced. But that's not naked anymore. That's already been touched, and I wouldn't be paying attention to that anymore. Yeah, so I'd be saying this area is support is what I'm really looking for. I'm really hoping the market gets one more flush down so we can take some great opportunities on alts and on Bitcoin. It might not give it to us. Who knows? I don't know. I can't predict the market, but I'm going to have my setups ready, my alerts ready, and I'm going to trade what's in front of me. Okay, that's Ethereum. Let's go to now Rndr. Okay, Rndr. Let me zoom out here onto the daily chart. Actually, let's go to the weekly chart. Let's look at what we got here. Let me get rid of this. There's got to be a better chart for Rndr. Oop. No, that's Rnd. What am I looking at? Nope. Okay, we'll just go with the Coinbase chart. So we got our weekly. Let me get rid of this as well. Weekly resistance up here. And you could even pull your weekly support here. Let's look at this pitchfork real quick from the bear market lows to high to low here. This is pretty nice, but let's go back to the modified. Let's look at this. Yeah, they're both pretty nice. Let me try one more thing here. Let's do a pitchfork from this low to the high to the low. Yeah, I like this one better. All right, check this out, guys. Rejected from the top of the band on 3 consecutive weekly candles, lost the band, tried to do a bounce on the weekly from the midline, couldn't. We rejected down to the bottom here, chopped around in here for a while, held the bottom of the pitchfork, pumped up to the midline, got the perfect rejection from the midline, dropped back down to the lower band, and right now we're wrestling around in that lower band. Oftentimes in these upper and lower bands, you'll see a couple weeks or a couple days of consolidation, and then we'll either lose the band or reclaim the band. So let's now zoom in onto the daily chart here. Let's go here. You could do a fixed range volume profile pull, kind of like this here. It's the same, and then let's pull it to up here after the end of the parabolic move. Yeah, I don't like those very much. This daily, we do have a fresh daily right below that was kind of front ran here. No, not there. And then you have your daily up here as well at the top of the band. But let's you could take a fixed range volume profile of just this price action here, we could be looking at this. So we do have the naked daily point of control here and at the value area high, really. And we've got one down here as well. That's a lot of them. All right, so first off, we do have right at the top of this band again, we do have a naked daily point of control up here, along with that daily that I kind of was looking at. So that's an area we should be watching, is this here, right up here. Daily up here that we could be looking at. Let's do a fib pull from the high to the low. Yeah, I do like that 0.5 there, because just like with Bitcoin, we could be in a correct, after this explosive move up here, we could be seeing a sort of like ABC correction type of pattern. And so the value area high is aligning with that 0.5 there. We could be watching that area. Was there a... Yeah, and then there's also that daily naked POC there. So that 892-ish is looking like a decent area of resistance to be looking for a short. And then also the other one that was down here at the top of the pitchfork band. Sorry, this is getting really messy. Let me get this hidden for you guys. So we know there's a daily naked point of control right around this daily as well. So the daily here, the top of the band. I turned EMAs on. Let me turn those EMAs off. Daily around 781 is a level to be looking kind of at a possible short in this little area here, because we have a naked POC in alignment with a daily. We could zoom in even more. And then, of course, 892 is a level to be watching for a short up there. Let's do a fib pull from on the daily from the high to the low, and let's zoom in here onto the 1 hour chart. Let's pull this over and let's bring it to a golden pocket. Man, look at this. I wonder if there's a better chart for Rndr. This was a chart on Rndr. Okay, much better chart. All right, let's look at this, you guys. Well, actually, let's zoom into the hourly, see if the hourly's choppy. It's not as bad. Okay, so this is good. I'm just going to redo this real quick, guys. Sorry about that. So there. Now, I don't know if that band is going to be the pitchfork, though. Yeah, same one. No, it's not the same one. But I'm all over the place on this. This is a different chart even than that. Okay. Wow, we front ran that SFP there, so that's automatically level to be watching. And there's a golden pocket right below that. Let's look at that golden pocket pull. Was from this swing low to the swing high. We have the golden pocket pull there. That is looking good there at 337-ish. You could be looking for that. Let's do our pitchfork again. Okay, and then, so, but we'd be breaking the pitchfork to the downside. Now, on the weekly, that's a pretty big drop, though, on the weekly to go all the way down there. It is a valid range, though. We could do kind of do a sideways range like here, and yeah, well, the value area low is aligning with the bottom of the pitchfork, which is kind of nice at 550-ish. So that's a level we could be watching there. Sorry, guys. I know I'm all over the place with Rndr now. Let's look at the fib pull again from the last weekly high to low. That's kind of where we're bouncing from right now. We're trying to hold the golden pocket of this last weekly move up. So let me zoom into the daily. You can see here of this move from this. No, not that one. Was it that one? Yeah. From this low to this high. So from the bounce of the bottom of the pitchfork to the pump to the midline, we're at the golden pocket here. We're trying to hold it. It's also this band of support here, this pitchfork band of support. So if we lose this, we could probably come down to that lower part where we had the value area low of that big weekly range pull. This pink pull here. So you can see the value area low here is around 550. We could chop for a while, come into the value area low. By then it might be aligning better with the bottom of the pitchfork here. That'd be like mid-January or so. And of course, then in that case, Bitcoin would probably be flushing too. Let me check the 786 here on this. 786 is a little bit in front of that value area low. Okay. Yeah, so this naked daily point of control here at 781 to 783-ish is a level that I'd be watching because that's also that pull. If we do a fib pull from the last local high on the daily to the low. 2-hour chart. I really don't like that much either. Well, golden pockets into liquidity grabs are always good. We do have the liquidity grab of this high into the golden pocket at 958, 969, 970. So I'd say probably 970 to 976 is the level you want to be watching on Rndr for a possible move up if we break this band to the upside. Right now, it looks like we're trying to hold the bottom of the band as support. So if we push up to the bottom of this band, we could just continue to chop in here low volume over the week or so. Kind of do this, and then we might continue our range to the downside. Oftentimes, after you see a big flush like this and then it's consolidation, it tends to be a continuation range. So you flush to the downside, you consolidate, and then you continue the trend that's already happening, and the trend is down. So that is, we have to be leaning more towards the bearish trend of breaking to the downside, just probabilities wise. That doesn't mean it's going to, but probability wise, we have to be looking at that. We already bounced from the golden pocket. You can see from this pull to this high, we bounced from the golden pocket here. So that is telling me that that golden pocket's kind of already been taken. I bet you that's the 886 there. Actually, it's not even the 886, 786. Yeah, okay, so A local level of support to be looking at if you're just trading kind of this range here. You could also do a fixed range pull just of this last little price action here. Man, not much confluence here, but we do have it at 651 to 650. We have the naked daily point of control down here in confluence with the 786 retrace. We, from Jason, we know 786 retraces are pretty darn good, especially on altcoins. 786s and 886 works pretty well. I would say, be looking at this level to support. We could be looking at this upper band again here at like 790, and then of course 760 to 70 to 770, 970, excuse me, to 976 is a level to be watching for a bigger short there. Let me look at a couple other things here. Fair value gaps. We do have a little fair value gap there, but and then let's look at the pivot points. Yeah, you guys can see the weekly pivot point is up here as well. So that 970-ish level is looking really good. 970 to 980-ish is looking pretty good there. Let's see. And then of course the bottom way down here was the bigger weekly range pull, fixed range volume profile pull. The value area low of that range is kind of in confluence with this S2 weekly pivot here and the bottom of the pitchfork, depending on how long it takes for it to get down there. That's a level to be looking at. Order blocks. We do have some order blocks up here as well. So this 970 area looks pretty good. 970 to 980 looks pretty good. And then, of course, down here too. So you guys were starting to see our big confluences. 970 to 980, and then down here around 511 or so, 520. Those are our big levels to be watching for bigger trades, and then in between all of that, I would just be trading what's in front of me. So I'd just be trading kind of this little range here. You could look at the local 786 in confluence with this naked daily point of control. And then, I would just look at this band as well. The support, look at how well the support and resistance of this band's been working. Every time we come to the bottom, we kind of hold it, we pump up to the top, we reject from the top. So we're just chopping within this band. So until we lose this band, I would just be trading this band. I'd be looking for shorts up towards the top. You'd want to see confluence too, depending on how long it takes. If it takes a little while, this swing SFP of this could be in alignment with the top of the band. Now, that might not be till Monday, so actually that does kind of make sense that we chop around in here for a while. At Monday, come up and SFP this, and then make our drop, just like Bitcoin might range until Monday and then make its drop. So that's something to be watching for. All right, that's Rndr. I'm sorry, you guys. I was a mess on that one. Let's look at Injective. This is Binance. Let's look at Coinbase here. Let's zoom out onto the weekly. Actually, okay, so actually here on Rndr, I see a potential nice descending channel. So if we take the high to the next lower high, we bring it down to the low here. Yeah, look at the midlines being pretty well respected here. Let's look at possible pitchforks. Let me get rid of this old one. We can go from the low here to the high here. Man. Nope. Okay, that's not going to work. All right, let's get rid of that one. The other thing you could look at is from this low to the high to the low here. Actually, let me hide this channel real quick, guys. Well, it looks pretty nice there. All right, so we're looking at this inside pitchfork here. From the last big weekly low that we had to our high that we created on the weekly to this low here on the weekly. We swing failed this low. You guys can see we actually swing failed this here with this liquidity grab. That's why we got the push up. Now we can look at this. I mean, it's being respected pretty well. We rejected from the upper band, lost the midline, came back up for a back test of the midline. So far we're rejecting, but we did hold the lower band the first time we tested it, actually a couple times. So let's look at, we can always pull in our weekly resistance up here. And I would be pulling my weekly support down here. Okay, we got that on the chart. Now let's go. We could do a range pull. There's two possible range pulls on the weekly I like. We could do a fixed range volume pull like this little more sideways price action here. We're at the POC right now. Or we could bring it all the way up to like the end of the impulsive. See this big impulsive structure up. And then we kind of start ranging sideways. And I do like this one actually quite as well because you can see the value area high is aligning very closely with our pitchfork band and our weekly levels, and then the value area low is aligning with the other pitchfork band and the other weekly support level. So that looks pretty good. Let's zoom in onto the daily chart. Let's look here on the daily. I mean, there's a few daily levels we could be looking at here. You know, you have this fresh daily down here that hasn't been hit yet. I bet you if we put that on the chart, it's going to be where a golden pocket is. I can kind of see that that might be a possibility. So let's put that daily on the chart, and then let's do a pull from the last low to the local high here, and let's turn on the golden pocket. Yeah, okay. So our first level of support right here is this fresh daily at 20.4 in confluence with the golden pocket retrace from this last move up to this high here. We've got the golden pocket. Now the POC is a little bit above, but oftentimes we'll see a wick on the daily down to a level of support, and then we'll pump back up and close the candle, the daily candle at the POC, and then continue up the next day. So the first level of support I'd be watching is 20.4 to 20.35-ish is that level of support there. Let's look at the resistance. If we even do a even less golden pocket pull up here from this high to this low. So yeah, our golden pocket is near that midline of the band, which is something to be watching. Okay, so as far as the other daily levels go, we don't have any dailies here. We do have this fresh daily here a little bit higher, which is probably in confluence with the 786. Let's do this. Let's just mark it out real quick. We're most likely going to take it off the chart, but let's change this to a 786. Okay, it's close, but it's not the best here. So I'm not going to keep this daily on the chart for now. All right, let's just look at this for now. Let's zoom in here and look at the relevant price action, just like we do with all of them. So just like with most coins, we saw this big dump to the downside, and we started forming a sideways range over the last few days because it's a holiday week. So we can do our fixed range volume pull from the bottom of the dump sideways here, and you can see, okay, we're already starting to get some pretty nice confluence here. Value area high is aligning with the pitchfork midline. So if we do come up to here, that's probably, let's see here. I think I just checked this. Let's look at the 0.5. Yeah, okay. So remember, guys, with corrective structures, we're looking for, like we saw, this is starting to form a range. When we see a low volume dump like this, we can often see like an ABC correction. So we can see like a zigzag three-wave correction. And so if we hold this POC here, if we pump up to the value area high, which is in confluence with the pitchfork midline, and the 0.5 is close, so we could be looking at 22.3 to like 22.5 is a level to be looking for a local short. And then the long, if we do like say even if we do come up there, we could be looking for the daily here at 20.4 to 20.35. And then even a little bit lower is the value area low of this range. So let's look at this real quick. Let's take this same fib pull and let's change it to the 786. So it's a little bit lower, but the 786 does have this liquidity grab down here as well. You can see this liquidity is resting. So we do have a box of support kind of in this area as well here that you could be looking at. And so that is a level to be looking, like 978 here. I'm sorry, 19.78 to 19.63. But I'd still be looking first at the daily in confluence with the golden pocket. I actually think that's a little bit nicer, and that might hold. So that's the level I'd be watching for local support to look for a long. If you do long this, you could bring it up to the value area high, which would be in confluence with the pitchfork and the 0.5. That would be a TP for sure. And then if you do break, maybe you could let some run, hoping you break that midline and continue higher. Now, much lower, we do have that weekly in confluence with the lower band of the pitchfork and the bigger range value area low. And that's around 15.9 to 16.8. So that's kind of a big box for an altcoin of big box of support to be looking at, a big area. But this is more like spot buy stuff too. Like if it comes down here, I would be interested in a spot buy on Injective around $15, $16 there. 16 to 16 and a half, 17-ish, closer to 17. And then of course up here, you do have your value area high in confluence with the weekly and the band. But look how nicely this weekly aligns with the top of the pitchfork band up here. So at 33.3 is a good level to look for a short, possibly even a swing short or a short to bring it down much lower. And then just trade what's in front of you guys. Trade the range here. So we have our internal levels to be looking for, like kind of day trading, scalp trading stuff. And then we have our bigger levels up here and down here to be looking for bigger trades, swing trades or spot buys or, stuff like that. Yeah, we do have a liquidity grab down here as well of the last big. Let's zoom out here onto the daily. So yeah, we do have, you guys, that last daily low here. We have some liquidity resting down here. It's also in that box of support we were just looking at, and it's right next to the bigger range value area low. So that $16 to $17 range really looks good for spot buys to ride up higher. And I'm really bullish on Injective actually. I hold some Injective on spot, and I do plan to buy more if it dips down. Gosh, it would be really nice to come down there. And I think we can. I think if Bitcoin corrects, I think it's going to come down there. So that's what I'd be looking at on Injective. Next up is going to be Tau. Okay, we'll go Binance here. Zoom out onto the weekly. I wonder if this is a newer coin. Let me look at... Pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Binance's chart here. So we got our weekly resistance. So we took this weekly here, so we're not going to mark that. But we do have a fresh weekly resistance up at the top here. We can mark that out. We do have the weekly support down here at 246, but I don't know if I'm going to mark that yet because that's kind of low. We could do... Let's zoom in onto the daily now. Wait, let me look here. It's kind of nice. I'm going to leave that on for a second. Let's zoom into the daily. Okay, so we took the liquidity of this low on this flash crash here, and then we're kind of holding it at the bottom now as well with this low here. So it looks like we have a nice clear range on the daily that we could pull. So from the end of this parabolic move up, you can see from then on we're going sideways. So we can take our fixed range volume profile and let's pull the relevant price action that we're trading now. We could look for this range. We could look for trades in the range, trade the range until it breaks. And it looks like it might be breaking actually. So, all right, let's see here. I mean, we have plenty of fresh daily levels to be looking at. This daily up here. We also have this daily order block here. And we have this daily close to the value area high. Let's do a fib pull real quick from the last high to the low. Yeah, okay, so check this out, guys. Golden pocket here, right in confluence with that value area high. So around, what is that, 6.9 to 620, 609 to 620 is a possible short level right there. We do have the daily level that's close by here at 601. So this little box of support here is going to be a level to be looking for a possible swing short or just a short area in general. And then as far as supports go, looks like we're losing the value area low. This kind of does look bear flaggy to me, just in general. You can see like, well, this wick kind of ruins it actually. So I'd go from here, and that looks bear flaggy, kind of. Let's see here. Let's look at the session volume profile. Wow. So we also do have a naked daily point of control up in this purple box. So there's more confluence for a short up around 669 to 621 up there. That looks really nice. Our weekly is in confluence with the top of the channel, depending on how fast we get there. So 712 is also, this box area here is a level to be looking, depending on how quick it gets up there. If Bitcoin has a big recovery and this coin gets bullish, I don't know how this coin trades because I don't look at it. I think this is the first time I've ever looked at it, or maybe not the first time. I think I've looked at it a couple times, but not a lot. Let's say that. Okay, let's look at a fib pull from the last daily low to the daily high of this little range that we're trading. You can see that we do have some. Let me zoom in now onto the 2-hour chart. You could do a range pull of just like this price action here. So we'll look at that in a second, but you guys can see that these last lows, this little group of lows that kind of held the support like all in here. I'm going to go with, let's see, that one there is pretty much right at the golden pocket. So that's a level to be watching for a local long position. Just that's from this high, from this low to this high here. There's that golden pocket. And then let's do a fixed range volume profile pull of just kind of this price action here. Yeah, we have our little range value area low right in that area as well. So there's some nice confluence around 440 for a long, and then you would bring it up. You at that point in time, you could do a theoretical fib pull wherever you bottom out at, say it's around 440. You would see our golden pocket is aligning closely with the value area high, so that would be one of your TP areas right there. And then the 786. Well, yeah, I would say actually the value area height of the 786 is the box I would be watching for a TP. Kind of this area here would be a TP if you long this area here. So if you do something like this, TP up here, your short would go, or your stop would go above the low that was created. So you'd want to see it start to hold first. You'd want to see some bullish divergences, and then you would long it. I'd probably wait until the SFP occurred, reclaim the wicks down here of these kind of triple lows, and then you enter in, market in, or set a limit or something. I wouldn't set a limit ahead of time. I'd be looking for it to reclaim and confirm the SFP. Then you could enter long, and that's an 8-to-1 or 8.5 risk reward ratio almost. So that's great ratio there, just that alone. Now you would want to wait for the reclaim. So actually, it would be a little bit less than that. It would be, about an 8 here. 8 risk reward ratio. That's pretty good still. that could be a local trade you're looking at there. Let's look at pivot points here. So we do have another pivot up in this box area here. So that's a level to be watching. Those are weekly pivot points, so they reset every week. Let's look at the monthly ones because I like the monthly ones. Okay, not much. I mean, you could see we're losing our monthly pivot if we come up to back test it. Let me get rid of this. If we come up to back test it here and we reject, that's also our bigger range value area low. So see how we're losing the value area low right now on the bigger range? Let me get rid of this for you for a second. This white line here is the bigger range value area low on the daily range value area low. We're kind of losing this. And so if we come back up and bearishly back test it along with that monthly pivot point, we might come down to this area and then see that. So be watching for that over the next day or two, especially if Bitcoin decides to collapse. Let's get rid of these now. Let's look at some fair value gaps. Yeah, I mean, this fair value gap down here is kind of nice too because it's a little bit lower, but we might kind of wick to the very front of the fair value gap. Sometimes those hold at like as support at the very front of it, and then we continue up higher. But you can also see this small fair value gaps kind of right above the 786 as well. So a little bit of confluence there. And those are 2-hour fair value gaps. If we change the time frame, those fair value gaps will change. I like 4-hour gaps. Let's look here. Okay, so you see this yellow line here. This is the weekly VWAP. Usually I use the daily VWAP, which you can see in blue here. But that weekly VWAP there is in confluence with the back test of the bigger daily range value area low. So, and then previous month open is right there as well. Previous day EQ's there. So we've got a lot of, just locally, if we do something like come up here and reject at like 485, you need to start watching for a move down to this area. So you could even short that. I don't know if I'd short that because we are locally making higher high, higher low, higher high. This could be a higher low before making another higher high up into the POC here. So that's kind of risky. You'd probably want to see bear divs. You would want to see confirmation. You'd want to make sure that rejection is happening. Let's go into now session volume profile. Okay, yeah, I think these levels here to be watching, like this box here, 504-ish is a level to be watching for a rejection. If we do continue, actually, let's look at this here real quick. On the 2-hour chart, we could be forming a sort of bear flag. Like I said, this could look bear flaggy. So what we do is we pull this, and yeah, look at this, looks pretty nice here. So the top of the channel on this bear flag is also the POC. So around 533, 534 is a level. If we are going to continue, like this is a sort of flag that's in the making after this big dump down. You could be looking for one more higher high into the top of the channel, hitting the big range POC, and then we could dump more. And at that point, if we came up here and hit this, then of course you're going to have to re-pull your Fibonacci, and this level wouldn't be as important. This support's only important if we don't come up first. If we come down from rejecting from the value area low, then that's a good level of support to be watching. But if we come up first, it's not as important anymore, so I wouldn't be watching it as much. You'd have to re-pull your Fibonacci, retrace, and then look from there. Okay, so that's Tau USDT. Let's look at the last one is going to be Phantom. Let's do Phantom USDT on Binance. Okay. Wow, look at, we rejected from the bull market value area low. Actually, let me zoom out. That's probably from a very long time ago. Yeah, see, that was this bull market here, up in here. That value area low. First time we tapped into it, we rejected. This is very old analysis though, so I'll leave that on there. Okay. Wow. Phantom looks very rangy for a long time. Like we could do a fixed range volume pull of this entire price action here. I do think it's better to not include that though. I would probably pull it from this low here and look at this. You can see we were kind of in this accumulation for a while, busted it up pretty quickly, retraced back down kind of to the POC. We front ran it, broke it above, held the value area high, continued higher. This looks like a nice channel. It's going to be a nice channel on the daily, but I'm going to wait just a second to pull that channel because we're going to mark out our levels first here. So I do see a weekly resistance, just like most coins have this weekly resistance up here. And then we also have our weekly support that looks kind of nice right here. So I'd mark these out here. And then you could even do a range pull of just this sideways price action here. Yeah, look at that, you guys. So this sideways price action looks really good because our POC is aligning with our weekly support, and then our value area low is at a key liquidity grab here. So that looks kind of nice. Let's leave these on the chart right now. SFP. SFP, remember, stands for swing failure pattern, and that's a liquidity grab. When you grab the liquidity on a swing position, so you can see this is kind of a swing low on the weekly, or probably more of a daily swing low. And then so that's a swing low, and then you can see our trend continued on the daily. So there's liquidity resting at this low into the value area low. And then we have our weekly POC here. So 69.8 is going to be a level to be looking for along right there, just based off of these two confluences here. We could also look at a Fibonacci pull from the last daily low to the high here. And let's actually turn this, because this is such, yeah, okay, so 786, but let's go to golden pocket here. So yeah, we're actually trying to hold the golden pocket of this here. You see we wicked into it. We had our first bounce, but we're kind of losing it. So oftentimes when you see a weak bounce like this from the golden pocket, the next time you'll kind of break through it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do break through and come down to this weekly level at 69.8 cents. Let's see here. If it does hold again, then you could be looking for a retrace here from the last daily high to this low of this flash crash here. And a 0.5 here is in pre-coast confluence with this value area high here. So if it is sort of like an ABC correction, after an impulsive move, you often see a zigzag ABC correction here like that. And you would look for the 0.5 and value area high at 116 as a possible rejection point. And then, of course, I would be looking for your final target to be down at this weekly in POC here. So let's do this. Let's keep looking here. I mean, we do have this daily here that's fresh. And that daily, let's look at that channel. Okay, so we're going to zoom out. We're on the daily chart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a parallel channel from the very low of this big push up. We're going to bring it to the next. Let's try this lower high here. And then we're going to connect it to these tops here. See how that looks like a pretty nice channel here. You can see that it's been respected pretty well. Midline here, midline's been holding here. Here it rejected for a few days, then we busted through. And we tried to wick above it a few times here and rejected. This is kind of like Bitcoin, how Bitcoin tried to get above that channel a few times but couldn't close a daily, and then we finally dumped. We lost our midline, came to the golden pocket. We came back up to backtest the midline bearishly, and then we're rejecting. So we can look at the 786 here. Here, 786 is probably, okay, that's not too nice looking actually. Let's adjust that though. No, let's go to the golden pocket and let's check that on the fib scale. Okay, yeah. So on the fib scale, you guys, because we are on the log chart, on the log chart, we are on the logarithmic chart. So I'm pulling this, even though this is not super big price action, it is a, let's see the percentage move on this. Yeah, 200, almost 180% move. So anything over 100% move, you should be using log charts for. It's just going to give you more accurate price action of something. Like if you're seeing 400 or 500% moves, you're going to want to be using a log scale. So if we're going to use the log scale, we want to look at the log fibs. And this log fib here, this golden pocket, is in pretty close confluence with the bottom of this channel. We'd want to see it come down pretty quick though. Like in the next day or two, we'd want to see it flush down, hit the golden pocket, reclaim the channel, and then continue the trend within. Now, if we hit the golden pocket, kind of like Bitcoin, come back up and reject, then we would be coming down to this weekly and POC, then to be looking for something like that. And then at that point, it could be a higher time frame back test to the channel, and then you could even continue down more. So we got to be watching that there. Okay, and then let's go with this little range was pretty nice here. So we could do a fixed range volume pull from right before that breakout, like just this range here. Let me include this one here. Value area high retested this range is in confluence with that golden pocket. So we are getting some pretty nice confluence here, like in this general area here, to be looking for a possible long around 76 cents or so, 76 to 75 cents, 73 cents here. And then, but I do like 69.8 better. Plus, yeah, 69.8 is really good. And then for short positions, we could be looking for the 1.16 into the value area high of the bigger range, kind of like it's an ABC correction target. And that's also the midline of this channel. So like say we do hold what we're at right now, the golden pocket again, and then we decide to come up here. It is the midline of the channel, the value area high of the bigger range, and the 0.5. And then we could dump down maybe to that 69.8 POC there. Oftentimes when you reject from a value area high, you'll come back down to the POC. So that makes sense. And then of course we do have our smaller range POCs as well there. And then we do have the value area low of this smaller daily range aligning with a liquidity grab down here of this last daily low here. So 64 cents. Yeah, but I do think this swing failure pattern at 53 cents also looks really good because it's a bigger, it's our second pivot of our channel. Oftentimes when you break a channel, you'll often come down to take the liquidity of the second pivot. Just like why I'm looking at 90.6 for Bitcoin, because the second pivot will often be taken, and we do have the larger weekly range value area low down there as well, or this bigger range pull sideways after the last parabolic move up. So 53 cents, that could even be levels for spot buys. Let's do one more thing here. We're going to do a fib pull from the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel. And we're going to change it to based off log. Oh, okay, it's on log scale already. So yeah, we do have this little consolidation area here, right in confluence with that golden pocket, but we would be losing the value area low of the bigger range at that point in time. So I don't know if that's a good thing. Let's look at that, and then let's. Okay, so yeah, even you guys for the pull, the fib pull from the last huge daily swing low to the high, pretty much this whole ascending channel from low to high, you can see the golden or the 0.5 is at 61 cents in alignment with this value area low of the smaller daily range and the liquidity grab here, 61 cents. This little box of support could be another box of support you're looking at here. That would be support 1, support 2, and then support 3 down here. And then resistance 1, resistance 2 up here. Let's look. We do have this POC up here of this kind of bull market range in our last bull market from September of 2021 all the way to April of 2022. You can see this bull market range, the POC is in alignment with the weekly. So you should be watching that weekly, fresh weekly into a POC of a prior range, which if you ever watch Frankie candles, you know those things work. So yeah, that's that there. That is kind of my analysis on Phantom. We could look real quick at session volume profiles. Okay, so you guys, you see we also do have the naked daily point of control at the value area high of this range at 116, and then that's the 0.5. So that's definitely a level to be watching there. This level here, kind of this area here is a level to be watching for resistance. And then you can see we do have another naked daily point of control in the weekly, and then our old weekly bull market POC. There's a level of resistance up there. And then if we do the golden pocket here of this, okay, I don't like that too much. All right, let's back that up. This fair value gap way up here aligns with the top of the channel, and by that time, we might have hit the bottom, reclaim the midline, and come up here. So 180 is a bigger resistance, like a more long-term resistance to be watching up there. Because daily fair value gaps are pretty awesome. And let's look at our pivot points. And then we also have the pivot point that's, well, that's kind of up there. But we do have our monthly pivot point as well in this same box. So this box here is definitely a box of resistance to be watching for. So let me clean up this chart a little bit, and then you guys could probably screenshot that if you want. Just know the boxes are the major levels to be looking at. So there's that. And then also just one more thing real quick is we do have the liquidity grab of this last low into the bottom of the channel. If we do chop for a few days, you could be looking for like some sideways accumulation until Monday, a sideways range. You could hit the SFP into the bottom of the channel, then continue higher. Actually, let's SFP into the bottom of the channel and then continue higher. So that's something to be watching too, because if the trend is going to continue and the trend's been going for a while, then that 84.4-ish is the first very local level of support to be watching, because swing failure patterns do work. So just watch that as well.